You know, between all the chaos and confusion that's going on out there and all the different products and all the different things that we're being hit with every day to purchase, today's topic we're going to talk about is how to budget and save money fast. And this is all tied into making good decisions in money and in life. Back by popular demand, we have none other than Carolyn Cushman DeSena. She's in the house. She's up in the hallowed halls here in Red Bank at the Profit Center. And not only I want to talk about budgeting and saving money fast, right?
Right.
But you also have a lot of different men and women in your network that you really talk to all the time. And I'm sure some of the stuff that you talk about, because of all the different accomplishments and accolades that you have, is really about budgeting and saving money.
Yes.
Including some of the brutally honest things you need to tell people about maybe too much house.
Correct.
And not enough furniture.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I call that being house rich, cash poor. And so I think oftentimes when we do really well and we get a good bonus and a bump in salary, you know, what do? We want to sort of buy more, do more, travel more, buy more, you know, luxury items. And I'm all about thinking and prepping and preparing for the future. And, you know, it's a perfect example. You know, this year, although we had a huge market crash, it's like, I think the biggest crash since, you know, the Depression, since 1927. And the market nearly went down, or it did go down 37%.
In like 3 weeks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what did that do? That crushed us in the market. So if you were invested in the market, it crushed us with jobs. You know, people lost their jobs. People were not expecting that. And so what happened? If you're not prepared, or if you don't have a nest egg, or if you don't have money tucked away, in moments like that, in moments of emergency, in moments of crisis, in moments where, you know what, you weren't expecting this, then you're doing something wrong. You know, for me, you know, I think about making sure that I don't overspend, making sure, look, I don't buy everything that I want. I think that's probably, you know, the first key is just not having that impulse to buy everything that you want. Every major purchase, you know, that is not, or what I would consider frivolous, I have to think about it. I have to make sure that it fits within my monthly budget and my annual budget, and to make sure that what I'm making is going to be able to cover not only my expenses, my medical expenses, my living expenses, but to make sure that I can cover, you know, the extras and to have fun. And I have to sit down and think about that every year and budget it out. Yep. And if you don't budget, you're going to get surprised in moments like we had this past March, you know, when the market hit the bed.
Yeah, and for you out there, if your husband is getting a big bonus, or if your wife's getting a big bonus, I'm sure it's important that you have a strategy for them to communicate in a healthy way to make sure they're on the same page regarding that bonus.
Yep.
On from a principal standpoint, how much would you say that they put away for that rainy day?
I mean, you know, the problem is that so often, you know, I think that partners don't talk to each other about finances. One, probably because it's not fun. Two, because it's stressful. Three, because finances are constantly changing. It's just not always a great conversation, but it's so important to have really good communication within a household so that both parties, if you have one at home and the other one it's in the workforce, it's so important that you're communicating and talking about what money is coming in so that the person who's actually not working doesn't, you know, do something that's not, you know, within the plan. There has to be a family plan where two people are agreeing to how to spend their money on expenses and on luxury items, but there has to be a plan. It has to be two people agreeing to that. It can't be two different plans, two different ideas. One spends and one doesn't. It's just not fair. It doesn't work. And like I said, you know, you're going to end up getting caught. And, you know, you just don't want to be caught in a situation where it's going to be detrimental financially. And then you're stuck having to pay, whether it's a mortgage or any kind of liabilities that you can't afford because you didn't plan and prepare properly.
So what I'm hearing is, and obviously all you folks out there know that we always recommend personal savings, pay yourself first, 15, 20% of your monthly salary. And now on top of that, if we're talking about year-end bonuses, having that same mindset to be able to put that money away. Because when winter comes, there's no calamity bell. No one told anybody on March 1st that COVID was gonna totally disrupt the world, even though the writing was on the wall. So a lot of folks that they're from a job perspective, there was a little bit of a bailout, we'll call it, a stimulus, right? But at the end of the day, if there wasn't proper savings, if you're not properly saving, the people that saved were in good shape. The people that didn't were a little bit frantic, right? So I think, Carolyn, understanding all that, how important it is to save and communication and being able to kind of really, have that 6 months of emergency fund set up. So Carolyn, what would you say is your biggest takeaway in the last 9 months, and how going forward people can take advantage of that so they can make good decisions as well?
I mean, I think the biggest takeaway is to make sure that you have saved money in the event of a massive or major transition in your life. So I lost my husband 4 years ago, and that is a major transition. There are people going through divorce, disability, a loss of employment, a death. These are things that we can't see coming down the pipeline. And if we are frivolous and just keep spending our money without the understanding that at some point we might have to hit the pause button because something, whether it's in the economy or something within our own personal life that is causing us to have or to live through a major transition, we need to be able to cover those expenses. And so I think it's really important, as you say, is to save a certain amount of money, make sure that we are not buying homes that we can't afford. I would recommend that you keep it to, I think the recommended is 30% of your net assets. That's the amount of a home that you should be getting a mortgage for. I would even say if the recommended amount is 30%, go down to 25%. I'm telling you right now, the idea of having a bigger and grander home, it's not all that's cracked up to be. I would actually, want to take that money and have more experiences, maybe travel more or do other things rather than put all of that money into a home, because that home is a massive and major liability that is going to last you probably for 30 years. And so, bigger is not always better. And I always find that when I'm talking to people, unfortunately, they overspend, buy too big, and they end up being, like we said, house rich and cash poor. You walk in, there's no curtains, there's hardly any furniture. And that's a really dangerous position to have, because if you are in a down cycle in the economy, people are losing jobs, the market is crashing, well, guess what's gonna happen? Real estate is gonna go down and nobody's gonna buy. And so that's why, I think it's just, be very mindful and save and make sure that you have a plan to take the money that you earn, whether it's in bonus and salary, to put it away so that you can have a nice retirement, be able to pay for your college education for your children, pay for that mortgage in the event of a massive transition, in your life or in the economy. And those are really important to take into consideration. The rest is not important.
Awesome. And remember, when you get that bonus money, don't like spend it like you're mad at it. Right? Have a really good relationship with money. Understand the mindset it's not about a piece of paper with, dead presidents on it, just to give it to somebody else so you could buy the thing over here. It's really about how that money can work like a stealth army for your benefit and have the ability to be multiplied over time through all different strategies that are tied to your core values. Once again, every single day we are bringing new content, new education. If you like what you heard, please hit that subscribe button. If you have any comments, any questions, please do that below. Specific to anyone on the Epic team, specific to Carolyn, we're here to provide as much world-class information as we possibly can.